What's up guys, your Doomsday here. Today we're back again, and in this video we're going to be playing some Xin Zhao in the jungle. So I've heard many people talk about how strong Xin Zhao is, and that definitely is true. But one reason why I think Xin Zhao is super strong is because it counters a lot of the meta. So a lot of the assassin early game focused champs like Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, Xin Zhao can match up pretty well against him just because of his tankiness, and he has also a pretty strong early game that can actually compete with those. But the champ that I actually think Xin Zhao is strongest into is Evelynn, and that's actually why I picked Xin Zhao in this match, is because we're jungling up against an Evelynn, and Evelynn is a pretty broken pick right now. My last video was an Evelynn video, and I'm going to put out an Evelynn video after this one. But in regards to countering Evelynn, my top recommendation is Xin Zhao, and the reason for that is because you can easily stay on top of Evelynn, you can abuse Evelynn in the early game. Even in the late game too, you're still too tanky to burst down. Plus with your crowd control and disengage and everything, it is pretty hard for Evelynn to be able to do anything. So now I'm just looking at the map and looking at what's going on in the lanes. And right now, one thing that I actually want to do is I actually want to figure out what's Evelynn's pathing. And the reason for that is I want to contest whatever scuttle Evelynn ends up going to. So right now, I'm looking to see where Evelynn is at. I was looking for maybe if there's a gank opportunity if they went for full-on engage. But something to actually see here is notice how nobody is starting up the blue buff for the enemy. Notice how we have a ward on the enemy blue buff, but nobody is starting it up. So I noticed that right over here, and at that point I realized actually Evelynn isn't doing a full clear. Evelynn's actually doing a bit of a different clear than most Evelynn players would do, and they're actually going for that top scuttle, and they're just only clearing the red side. And I can tell that because they would have started their blue by now if they were doing a full clear. So I end up going to the scuttle, and the timing was perfect. I get right onto the Evelynn, able to pick up that kill there, and now Jax is on the way. I probably can't 1v1 Jax. Jax is actually really obnoxious to deal with as a Xin Zhao, just because a lot of your damage does come from auto attacks and your auto attack based abilities. So he can block off a lot of damage, so that's not a good matchup in my favor, but actually, the reason why I push this lane out is because I want my mid laner to have this priority. I want them to be able to be pushed up because I actually want to invade the enemy jungle. Because now I know Evelynn's actually been going on this blue side next. So now that mid wave is pushed up, look at where Seraphine is. Seraphine is pushed really far back, whereas the Akali can play super aggressive. So now if a fight breaks out over here or anything, Akali can rotate. So now I see a good gank opportunity here, so I actually don't go for the engage, and instead I go for the gank. That Sona is literally one shot and they get out of that, but now I'm looking to the Evelynn. Maybe I can get there in time, maybe I can't. Let's see if I can get there. Or actually, look, I'm actually going for the kill instead, or I'm camping out this Evelynn, but I get a kill there. I didn't go for that blue buff because I knew Evelynn would probably just smite it down, and I didn't have smite up, so I wouldn't be able to secure that. And actually over here, I know I can't secure that either, so I just forced him to reset it, just wasting Evelynn's time, and we're able to push him into another uncomfortable spot. But as you can see there, notice how that Akali was able to rotate, whereas the Seraphine didn't really have as good of an opportunity to rotate. All because I pushed in that wave there because I planned my movements ahead and what I wanted to do. So now this Akali's going in here. That was a bit of a questionable engage, but all right. I'm on the run. I'm looking to see if Darius can maybe land a hook, but I don't know what that was either, but it's okay. We're going to go back to keep on farming our jungle. So now I'm clearing my blue side now. I don't even think I've taken this a single time all game. So farming it up. And right now, I actually know that Evelynn is probably on their red buff right now. Because if you think about their rotation, they started off on their red, I started off on my red, so when my red buff respawns, their red buff also respawns. Also, they just clear their entire blue side jungle. So there's literally no way, and as you can see, Evelynn is on the top side of the map. And that's why it's super important to track the enemy jungle, because just because I knew that Evelynn was on their red buff side, that means their only opportunities are to either gank that top lane and that mid lane. And that's super key to just know, because now you know like this bot lane can play super aggressive. I can go for a gank here and not have to worry about a counter gank or anything. Or I could force this dragon or something. So now looking for an engage here. They're super low. Think we can get this kill over here. They're one shot. Able to pick that up. Maybe we can get the second one. Evelynn still isn't in the area, and I see Seraphine's in mid, so I'm not too worried. And now rotating towards this dragon. So now there's a good chance that Evelynn is either taking Herald or coming this way from their blue side jungle. So I'm being a bit cautious. I actually see Evelynn is on the Herald, so I know I could take this safely. Able to secure this off over here, and now heading towards that Herald. And that was a really good spot by Darius to realize that they were doing the Herald, and a good rotate by him. So now I'm trying to get some of my health back, seeing if I could maybe get some health back and join the fight. But it looks like Darius got a good ultimate off, and he got all his Noxie and Might stacks. So he's able to clean that up. That's why Darius is so strong, because if you're able to pick up one kill off of a careless teammate, you could just go completely ham on the enemy team. Or like if you catch out a careless enemy and you're able to get a good ultimate and reset on your ultimate, you could just completely chain your ultimates. That's a bit crazy. But now I'm just taking a plate or two, farming up some minions. Evelynn is out here. I have to ult to kind of get out of this. I negate most of that damage. That was probably a bit of an overstay for me. I probably should have left a bit earlier, but it's all right. I got out of that alive. And now I actually see that they're trying to rotate back upwards. So pinging my teammates if they want to come for this. As you can see, it's really hard for me to fight Jax. And the Evelynn's still here. And that was actually a bad engage by me, just because Seraphine was coming back, Evelynn was still in the area, and I keep on underestimating that Jax. But it's okay though, because they didn't go to this bot side over here. Jinx is getting a full bot tier turret by themselves, and that's huge because that means that our Jinx should have a lot of gold. And yeah, they do get the Herald, but we get first turret, and that's big because a big point of getting Herald is that you get first turret, meaning that your team gets a lot of gold, because first turret gives your team like 1,000 gold. But now that we denied that, the Herald loses a lot of value, so it's not a huge deal. It of course would be nice if we could get it, but it's not that bad. So now I see that they're trying to push down this mid lane with the Herald. And I was thinking of that, but I realized I probably shouldn't without my ultimate. If I had my ultimate, I for sure could have made that engage, but we really need to watch out for Seraphine ultimate. That's something which you have to be careful about. So now, pinging that, I want to check out their blue buff. I think Evelynn is on it, or around this area maybe. So, waiting to see if they show up, or if anybody wants to rotate. Since I'm pretty sure somebody's going to rotate down here to try and cover for this Jax, or try and push back out this bottom lane. So, I'm keeping an eye out. At this point, I'm kind of getting a bit restless. I see the Ezreal there. And there's Evelynn, finally. So now, I'm able to just flash and chase down that kill. And that's pretty good, because now we're going to get really good positioning for when this next dragon spawns. And there's a Seraphine over here. I ultimate to try and negate some damage and get some burst out. And we're able to pick up that kill too. So overall, this is looking pretty good. We have pretty good positioning. I'm just trying to get a blue buff and get some health back. Thankfully, I'm able to get that. And now just farming up the scuttle. But a key thing against Evelynn that I actually forgot to mention in the early game is when you're playing against Evelynn, especially this is really important for you laners, if you're watching this, if a laner is watching this, but don't ward the normal bushes. So like, don't ward the normal bushes that you would ward against an Evelynn. And the reason for that is, if an Evelynn's going to gank you, they're going to be invisible, and those wards are going to be useless. If you want to prevent ganks against an Evelynn, what you need to do is you need to ward their buffs. Because when they're farming up their buffs, so when they're farming up, like, for example, like the Krugs or Gromp or their blue or red buff, they can't be invis because they have to be attacking the camp. So then you can see what side of the map they're on, and you could tell which lanes they could possibly gank. And that's just huge, because that's a mistake so many players make against Evelynn. That's one of the reasons why Evelynn is so broken, is because people don't know how to play correctly against Evelynn. And especially warding can deny so much. If you can track the Evelynn, and if you could set up correct wards. So now, I know Evelynn's probably actually on that blue side right now, or on the red side right now, because their blue side just got cleared. So they're probably farming up their blue side, and then heading over towards the dragon. So now I'm pinging, be careful of this Seraphine actually, because that's why I'm really spam pinging the Seraphine, because a good Seraphine ult will kill us all. And right now we're all grouped together, and this is really, really dangerous, because a good Seraphine ult and we're all just going to get bursted down. So I'm trying to spread out a bit, if at all possible. And that's a really, really bad spot to group against Seraphine. If a Seraphine lands a good ultimate, oh, what did I say? Look at that there. Just get completely bursted down. I didn't even get like any good abilities off. I just got completely like 100 to 0'd. And now this is looking like a way more sketch fight. So fighting in those choke points, fighting in these narrow points like where I'm standing right now, don't do that against the Seraphine, because you're just going to get ulted and that won't be good. So now I'm able to get the berries. Maybe I could turn this around with the berries. trying to land my smite off, see if I can get some damage. I pick up 2 kills there. Maybe I can get a third. I'm actually waiting for my abilities to get back off cooldown. It would be a mistake to have gone back in right there because all I would have had is my basic attacks, and Xin Zhao actually is really ability focused. His auto attacks are pretty nice, but it's really his ability burst that like makes Xin Zhao stand out as a strong early game champion. And without those abilities, you really can't do too much damage, and it's way harder to stick onto enemies too because a big part of your kit is your first ability has a knock up, your second ability is a slow, your third ability is a gap close. So all your abilities have some good way of sticking onto enemies. So for instance, if I'm trying to chase like a Seraphine or a Sona and they're running away and then they root me or something and I don't have my abilities, I don't have a good way of getting back onto them. So that's why sometimes it's just smarter to play patient and to back off for a couple seconds until you get your abilities back off cooldown with Xin Zhao. But for this match, I actually decided to go for Black Cleaver, and I was trying out Divine Summoner. I know a lot of people go for that item second, and we'll see how that works out in this match. And I actually want to explain why I don't think it's a good choice in this case. And while I do think the item is good on Xin Zhao, I think this scenario, I should not have built its second item. And the main reason for that is I'm going to hold off for a minute or two, and hopefully we'll see good instances of why. But, I'll explain it. I just want to see if there'll be a good, clear instance of why. But as you can see, like, look at that. The Evelynn is trying to get away from me, but they literally can't do anything. And that's why I love Xin Zhao to Evelynn. Like, you could just keep on third ability onto him and then just crowd control him, and there's nothing an Evelynn can do to get away. They could try an ult away to get away, because that's one of Evelynn's big escape tools, but you could just third ability. Or you could just use your second ability, slow him down, and then get back onto him. So now, we're getting these dragons, and now I'm pinging I want to invade the enemy blue buff in case the Evelynn heads there. So I take this, and now I'm spam pinging. I know the Evelynn's respawning, and I want to take this blue buff from him. Because getting the blue buff from an Evelynn is huge. So I'm waiting to see if I can catch anybody off guard. As somebody rotates, I'm actually looking at the Sona. I'm pretty sure the Sona is going to rotate back. So I'm looking to catch out the Sona here. And I'm able to find him. They try and root me up. Oh, for some reason, I don't know why my ultimate didn't do any damage. I think they might have gotten a barrier at the same time. So now they're trying to chase me down, but they won't be able to. I still have this Darius to cover. Use my stone plate pretty well, and we should be able to turn this around if they keep on chasing. So as you can see, it is a struggle for me against Jax. And now it's time to back up. I don't know why that Jinx kept on fighting. Okay, they just left. That's good. Oh. Are they dead? They might be dead. And now that was a bad place to recall because that Evelynn could easily just run up, and that's why I'm like covering in case that Evelynn does show up. But Evelynn does go mid. It would have been better to just run back to base. But I'll go ahead and explain why I don't think DS second item is good in this case. And it's because if you look at our team comp, I'm probably the main frontline in this match. Like, I'm the one that's been tanking up the most amount of damage. And the enemy has a lot of burst. They have this Seraphine ult, which keeps on screwing me over. They have all their crowd control with, like, the Sona root and everything. And in these fights, I keep on getting bursted down really, really fast, especially if I get hit by that Seraphine. So really, getting Serix Gauge second would have been the move here. Because by buying Divine Summoner second, I really delay that Sterix Gauge, and we're going to see later in this match, once I do get the Sterix Gauge over here now, I see this Evelynn, and look, watch this Evelynn trying to escape from me. They just ult away, I can just get back onto them, there's literally nothing they can do, and I'm still full health, like, they didn't even make a dent in me, and that's why I think Xin Zhao is probably the best champion to Evelynn, in my opinion. Or at least it's my favorite pick into Evelynn. So now, farming up, looking to maybe push down a turret here. That is the goal. This Jax. Maybe we can get some good burst damage. So get some good burst damage, and then he just uses that ability, and he does so much damage. And like, look at that. Even though I'm really fed, I still can't withstand all of their crowd control and burst. So thankfully, we're able to trade pretty evenly for that. But as you can see, that was much closer than it needed to be. So now, I'm telling him to back off. We don't know where Evelynn is. Gotta watch out for that. Now that that buff is down, I actually know that Evelynn's going to their blue side because like their blue side is the only thing that's up. So I'm actually going to go over there. But this is actually a mistake over here. And while it has been working for me most matches, or for most of the game, this is a huge mistake. And it's because look at my teammates on my map. All of them are on the other side of the map. So, although I do track down this Evelynn, I get the kill, I guess. But now, notice how, remember last time how I had that Darius to cover for me? And sadly, it's that Seraphine. That Seraphine got that root on me. If Seraphine didn't get that root on me, I would have been out of there. But unfortunately, they did land that route, and I do go down there, and it's because I had no teammates to cover for me. So that was definitely a bad choice on my part, and something that I would watch out for more is to just see where your teammates are positioned to, and they're going for this fight over here. It's looking a bit sketch. Maybe Darius can get a good ult. He didn't even ult, actually. Never mind. Ooh, that's not looking good either. Maybe a Akali can get out. Ooh, they ult over the wall. I think they're still dead. Yeah, ooh. The jukes. Nice, they did get out. That's good. But as I was saying, I should not have gone DS second item this match. Steric's Gauge would have provided me so much more against all their crowd control, against all their bursts, and it's essentially key, it's especially key, oh my gosh, I can't talk, in this case, because I'm the main frontline. Like, I'm taking up most of the damage in this match, so I'm gonna be the one that's getting bursted down, and getting that barrier would be huge. Now, if my team had other tanks that were going for the engage, like if we had like an Alistair or like a Leona that were doing the engages for me, then it's probably fine for me to go for this more damage focused build, but definitely not in this case. So now we're just keeping an eye on everything, trying to maybe get an engage onto this Ezreal, but they just dash away. And for some reason, this Akali started up this Baron, so now I guess we're all doing it because we're all here. So now I really want to finish this because it's already kind of low. My team kind of goes out, but I realize nobody's focused on this anymore, and that was a bad team fight. That was really bad miscommunication on both of our parts. So now I go down here, and at this point, my main focus is to just deny them this Baron, so I at least get the smite off. I get the Baron. 2 people get the Baron buff, so not awful, but we had a handful of teammates go down, which was not good. But at least we denied them the Baron buff, so that's good. So now I have my Steric's Gauge, and that will be huge in these fights. And we'll see that coming. I want you to keep an eye out, just because it's going to be so important. But as for the runes, I'm going Conquer, Brutal, Conditioning, and then Pathfinder for my last rune. And yep, now that I actually just finished with college for the semester, I just finished with finals and everything, so I can finally get back to uploading over the summer and definitely look to grind more. Maybe I'll go for Challenger this summer. I don't know. The only thing about Challenger is you just have to play so much, and like, while I'm sure I probably can if I put in enough time, it's just like, it just takes so much. I respect everybody that can get to Challenger, because it is a serious grind to get there. Like, Grandmasters that's not bad for me. Like, I can get there in like a week, but Challenger's rough. And it's very tilting too, because that's when the matchmaking and everything can get really sketch, and it could just be rough to grind up to there. So now, as you can see, like, look at that damage. I was trying to ping Ezreal not to go up that far, but you can see, like, that Steric's Gauge provided me a pretty big barrier. I accidentally misclicked my third ability, I think, and that's why I was a bit frustrated, because I didn't mean to click my third ability. So I accidentally went back in, but I was trying to ping the Ezreal not to go up that far, but for some reason they just kept on going, and that's a huge mistake against the Seraphine. And my teammates really are not learning that well how to play against the Seraphine, because it's literally only the Seraphine that's screwing us over. Like, without the Seraphine, we can manage the rest of their team. Like, I've been shutting down the Evelynn for most of this game, and then nobody else has been too much of a problem. This Jax is kind of annoying for me, but against the Jax, it's really my ADC's job to kite back this Jax, because I can't do much against the Jax, because he can out-sustain me pretty much, and he can out-1v1 me. But if we kite back, if we get good crowd control on him, then we can take him down. And now you can see that Seraphine ultimate again, getting the best of him, and we just lost an inhib, so it's starting to not look too good. Starting to get turned back around. I ultimate to try and avoid any damage. You can see I'm blocking off like all the damage from the Seraphine and the Ezreal, and that's actually why I ulted pretty early there, was because I just didn't want to get bursted down again super fast. But unfortunately, nothing was able to come out of that. And now with the Elder Dragon spawning, this is like the deciding fight. Whoever wins this fight will probably get the Elder Inferno and will probably win the match, just because it's become relatively even now. Like, although our ADC got a pretty decent lead, our mid kind of threw the entire match, going for like pretty bad engages, but our ADC was ahead, but they really aren't that much anymore, so that's a bit unfortunate. And top kind of lost actually against the Jax. Like, although they didn't lose really, the Jax is just performing better really. They just have more of an impact in the match. So now, I don't know why that Akali has teleport too. Don't do that as Akali. But now, we're waiting for this to get low. Maybe we can get a good fight in. I dive in. Ultimate, and I'm sustaining way better. As you can see, I tanked for a bit longer. I still had my Guardian Angel, so that's good. But now, this is looking really, really good. Maybe. This Jax is still up. And I'm trying to run from this Jax. I'm trying to slow him down from my ADC. And, oh, that was a clutch pull from Darius. That pull from Darius just saved the Jinx so hard. So now, we're able to get those kills over there. Plus, we're able to get that Elder Inferno. And with Xin Zhao, it's really nice to secure using your ultimate and your smite. Like, that's a lot of burst damage. Plus, you push anybody away, so it gives you some space also. And if you just combine the two, it's pretty solid. Or you can combine your second ability, ult, and smite. That's also a really good combo, because your second ability does a good amount of burst damage. So I'm actually looking at what to buy, and I'm not sure. What do I end up buying? I think I end up buying Zeke's. I think Zeke's is the move in this case. Do I go for Abyssal Mask? Okay, I'll probably go for Abyssal Mask just because of the Lux and the Akali. Zeke's wouldn't have been a bad in this case either, because Zeke's would have definitely helped against it would have helped Jinx, because it would have buffed Jinx, and it gives good stats too. Zeke's is overall a solid choice if you have an ADC that's late game and doing good damage. But I think I'd just go for Abyssal Mask here, because we have 2 AP champs. So now, we're setting up again, and really the key thing that I'm looking for here is I want to look for a pick. If we could pick somebody off instead of going for a full 5-on-5 team fight, I think that's how we win. I think if we go for a 5-on-5 team fight without catching anybody out, it'll be way harder, because we're all going to be grouped together. Seraphine's just going to throw out another ult, and it's not going to look good. So that's why I'm pushing on this mid wave over here. I'm trying to push in waves while we're just standing around. That's something a lot of people don't do, is they don't push out their side waves and stuff like that. So you can see them putting pressure on the top side. I'm putting pressure on mid. And now we're looking to collapse. And this is really good over here, because I actually see that they're split. So that's huge over here. And notice what I do. I hold my third ability until they dash over the wall, because I knew they were going to flash or dash or whatever. And now I'm going onto them. And I'm able to get onto this Sona. I'm ulting away all the damage from the Seraphine. That was huge there. And now I'm trying to change focus onto the Seraphine, but I have to back out because my ultimate runs out. And now we're chasing them down. I'm pretty much letting my ADC and my carries do the work now. And sometimes it's a mistake for you to just dive face first, because you just take unnecessary damage when you don't have your abilities up. Sometimes you just have to play patient and let your carries do their part too. Sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't. But geez, our base is like one shot. Oh my gosh. That is scary. It's getting a bit intense. But now we're taking this Baron over here. I killed the Evelynn, or somebody killed the Evelynn, so it's getting a bit closer. I don't know what that Darius thought he was going to do with like 5 HP, but it didn't work. And now that Jinx flashes over. Big questionable. I really want to be careful. Like, I don't think this is worth the risk, but it ends up paying off. That is huge. You can see that Jinx damage starting to pop off at the end of the match. I think, do we both go down? Oh, maybe that Jinx can... Oh, dude, that's crazy. As you can see, Jinx, late game, super strong when they can kite back and they don't get crowd controlled. And that's why I was saying Zeke's might not have been a bad choice over here. Like, I think Zeke's might have been the move, actually. So I actually think I end up selling this because I realized it's providing me no value. Like, I'm not the main damage dealer anymore, so I actually sell that, and yep, I actually go for Zeke's. So I realized that after that, I was like, this Jinx is popping off, like, or at least they're starting to finally dish out their damage that they need to. So Zeke's is a good buy here. And at this stage of the game, if there's certain items that aren't providing you any value, like Divine Summoner wasn't doing anything for me at this point. So you could just sell it, honestly. Or in the very late stages of the game, you could sell your Guardian Angel when it's on cooldown, actually. Because Guardian Angel doesn't do much for you when it's on cooldown. So after it gets popped, like if there's another fight and it got popped, I would just sell it and buy another defense item. Because there is no point in having Guardian Angel without the actual perk of it. So now we got this Baron buff, and all we have to do is push down waves. I literally just want him to stay alive. Watch out for Seraphine. There's the ultimate. That was a good stasis. That was a very, very clutch stasis. I don't look at that. Look at that barrier that I just got. That was the biggest barrier I've seen in a long time. And that's why I was saying, like, Sterix is huge because I can't get bursted down as easily. And that's why probably going for DS was actually a mistake in this match. But now we got 4 kills, and it's finally looking like we might be able to pull away with this. So pushing down this last turret, we have all 3 inhibs, and we're going to be able to end here. But I hope y'all enjoyed this match. If you did, it was a fun match to play, I'll admit. I learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed. But if you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below to support the channel. And you could be expecting more uploads from me in the near future. And I'll see y'all in the next video.